War Thunder is not fun. Or is it? No, stop. Cut that out. It's a commonly asked question. Is this game actually fun? Not fun anymore. How do you have fun in this game? What is it about War Thunder that makes it so fun? And that's exactly what I'll be answering in this video. What makes War Thunder so fun? Or not so fun? But why should I listen to your answer? I hear you saying. Well, dear viewer, that's why I polled 100 players in a survey about this very topic. Then I compiled all the answers into a spreadsheet and created various graphs to display the data. So I'll be showing you the data I collected, highlighting interesting things I noticed, and leaving a link to the spreadsheet in the description of the video for you to visit if you're interested. Meanwhile, you're gonna hit like and subscribe, or, well, if you enjoy the video and learn something that is. First, let's take a look at the questions I asked on the survey. They included, what level are you currently? What do you rate War Thunder on a scale of 1 to 10? How often do you have fun in War Thunder? How often do you complain about War Thunder? And quite a few more. I also included questions like what game modes they favor, what BRs they play, and what devices they use. In this video, I do not talk about the correlations of game mode, BR, nor device, but I left them in the spreadsheet so others can look at it and arrive at their own conclusions. Instead, I focused on the correlation between whether or not they play alone and how much fun and annoyance they have in-game. Of the 100 surveyors, 26 play almost exclusively alone, 10 play almost exclusively with friends, and 64 play with an even mix of friends and by themselves. Because of the discrepancies between these numbers, I figured that simply averaging the responses would provide the most accurate data. That being said, my initial thoughts would be that players who play with friends more often would be irritated the least and enjoy the game the most, but as I found out, this was not entirely correct. In truth, there are multiple ways of looking at this. Players who spend an even amount of time playing with friends and by themselves tend to rate the game higher on average. They also generally found the game to be less annoying than other groups. So while they rated the game the highest, I found that it was actually more so determined by the player's individual level. The lower level a player is, the more likely they are to overrate War Thunder. I should point out that the number of low levels who watch my channel are almost non-existent, so all the data you see for 1 to 10 is literally just one player, so take that specific data with a grain of salt. Then again, you can visually see that between levels 11 and 30, the players had the biggest gap between rating and annoyance. Players that are level 1 to 30 seem to enjoy the game the most and have the less overall annoyance than others. I chalk this up to them simply not being experienced in the game enough to even know what to be annoyed about. They simply aren't annoyed as much as others. This annoyance peaks at levels 51 to 60 and also has the lowest rating. Compared to levels 11 to 30, players in this region know what to be annoyed about and actively express it. However, players tend to mellow out once they hit 61 to 70, and their rating of the game gradually improves as they level. Their annoyance with the game also starts decreasing until a sudden spike at 81 to 90. I don't know how to explain that spike, so if anyone is at this level and is highly annoyed with the game, please explain why. This also brings me to my next interesting point. Earlier, I explained that I thought players with an even mix of alone time and playing with friends would have the most fun and be annoyed the least. Simply, I was wrong. It turns out that if you primarily play alone, you're more likely to have fun and less likely to complain than every other group. This is quite odd, considering that War Thunder is a team-based multiplayer game. I chalk this up to an echo chamber effect. If you play with friends and die, you're more likely to verbally express your frustration and feelings. More likely than not, your friends will either agree with you, which echo chambers the discontent for the game, or your friends will mock you, which will just make you feel more upset and increase your discontent with the game. This creates a lose-lose situation. Whereas playing alone, you obviously are less likely to verbally express yourself, and with no one to either agree or disagree with you, the frustration just kind of fades off. When it comes to complaints about the game, the 100 players mostly complained about game mechanics, other players, BR, certain vehicles, and bias. When it comes to things that made the 100 players happy, they mostly listed doing good, the gameplay, certain vehicles, community interaction, and friends. So now we have the answer to our burning question: what makes War Thunder so fun, or not so fun? According to the community, they simply enjoy doing good at the game, which makes sense. They enjoy playing the game and unlocking certain vehicles as much as they enjoy playing with friends and interacting with others. Their main complaints are how the game is being played by others and issues or bugs. A main problem is the BR system, where they're being upset about the lack of decompression, certain vehicles being over or underrated, and wait times. There was also a strong dislike of certain biases towards nations, such as USSR or Russia, constantly getting new vehicles, while smaller nations aren't getting nearly the same treatment. By the way, if you want to partake in interesting studies like this, join my Discord server. Anyways, I also documented each player's personal reasons for playing War Thunder in case the data wasn't enough. 33 people noted that they were an enthusiast of either vehicles or history, 24 people noted that they simply love the game, and 21 people noted a lack of competition against War Thunder, referring either to DCS being too complicated or World of Tanks being too arcadey. So that's how the community stands, but how do I feel about War Thunder? Personally, I think it's a great game. The realism and details of a lot of the models are really good, and the damage system is a huge step up from games like World of Tanks, which I agree is way too arcadey feeling. Though, the damage system leaves a lot to be desired and has a lot of glaring issues, like volumetrics. I think the grind is a bit ridiculous too, especially for events. In my eyes, it would be a lot more enjoyable and less time consuming to simply make it point-based and not a convoluted crafting system. Whereas the current system pressures busy people, primarily working age adults, into simply buying the vehicles off of others, which is very anti-consumer. While I like the game, I think it's less that I enjoy playing it and more that I enjoy specific moments. Like, what's more likely to stick out in your mind? When you get a triple kill? Or when you go too fast, flip over, and a teammate spends 5 minutes trying to help? But those are my thoughts on War Thunder. Again, if you want to see the spreadsheet and explore it on your own, there's a link in the description. Feel free to comment about any interesting things you find, and of course, feel free to comment what you liked or didn't like about the video. I make it a point to listen to your feedback so I can provide better data and videos, and hopefully you find it interesting. If you did, hit like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.